Welcome to The Scoop with Dukes. I'm your host, Philip Dukes, aka DukestheScoop. Check me out on Twitter and Instagram at DukestheScoop. And make sure you hit the like and subscribe button and turn the notifications on. You never know when I'm going to drop. Today's episode is brought to you by Trap Golf Art and Hip Hop. Great shirt. Make sure you check out Trap Golf on Instagram and Twitter. All right. Coach Prime called me today. We had a really good conversation. Amid all the rumors, it was finally good to talk to the man himself. And I'm going to get into our conversation. It lasted about 15 minutes. Really great talking to him. A great mentor of mine and a great friend and brother. Gave me a lot of game today that had nothing to do with his situation, but we'll get into what he had to say momentarily. Let's talk about day, I don't know, whatever day it is of the saga right now. No contract in Colorado. No extension has been signed as of now. Every day there's a new report on Coach Prime and what he'd be willing to do on the NFL level. So let's just start off today where we can start with Adam Schefter on Get Up on ESPN, where he was very clear about the fact that people were saying that Deion Sanders was using his ability or his relationships in the NFL as a negotiating ploy to try to get more money out of Colorado. And Adam Schefter, one of the most reputable reporters in the industry, quashes that immediately with the direct quote from Deion Sanders. Coach Prime told him, like, no, that's not true. Why would I need a ploy when I'm me? I know Adam Schefter ain't come up with that. And me knowing Prime, that came from Prime. Okay, I'm going to get back to that too. Later in the day, Ed Werder, well-renowned reporter, works for ESPN, the Dallas area. He comes out and he says, sources close to Coach Prime say that he absolutely would take the Dallas Cowboys job if offered. To piggyback on to what Werder reported today, Adam Schefter earlier on Get Up also said that Coach Prime wouldn't have a problem coaching Dak Prescott and that Jerry Jones would be the only person who could get him to go to the NFL without coaching his son. That wasn't a quote from Coach Prime. That's Adam Schefter knowing Coach Prime and knowing his relationship. The quote in that whole deal was where he said, I don't like, have you ever noticed that Coach Prime quotes sound like quotes from him? He said, I don't have, that's not true. Why would I need a negotiating ploy when I'm me? That's Coach Prime. All right, so listen. So around 5 o'clock this afternoon, I get a phone call, Coach Prime on the phone. And I'm thinking, Coach, what's going on, Coach? Like, are you telling me some news? Or am I gonna have to move? Like, what's going on, Coach? But we started to talk. We started our conversation. The conversation starts with him asking me about me and how I'm doing. My son, Coach Prime, is always asking about, like, he's one of those type of guys that wants to know everything going on around you. That conversation then leads to asking me about players who just got to Colorado that he knows that I know that I'm familiar with from the Atlanta area and their learning styles. I'm like, what? He could have asked me a million anything else in the world. He asked me about freshman learning styles. Well, how does he learn? Like, what's he like? What does he like to do? And I'm not trying to imitate his voice, but sometimes when I talk about Coach Prime, it's like I kind of almost say his voice anyway. It's just kind of how I do when I repeat stories. But he's like, what's his style? What's he got going on, dude? And also, he's telling me, like, man, this kid showed up in way better shape. Did you know that he was gonna come in looking like that, dude? And this is a kid who wasn't from Atlanta at the time. But the first 5 minutes of our conversation, And he knows what I do for a living. He literally is my media mentor. He knows what I do for a living. And the first 5 minutes is about Colorado. Okay, cool. All right. Then we get into the coaching staff. We talk about the new hires, strength and conditioning coach, Andrew Swayze. We talk about some other moves being made. We talk about Coach Pollock getting special teams, how proud he is of Coach Pollock, what he thinks Coach Pollock is going to be able to bring to the table. Once again, no mention of anything but what he's doing in Colorado. Then we talk about strategy, which I always appreciate, to be able to talk to the greats when they do respect me enough to let me know what they want to do and strategy and what they feel like and how the offense may look and some adjustments that'll be made. And then father to father, he talks about, how it is not having Shedeur and Shiloh around, but how excited he is. Okay. Now this ain't, this is directly from Coach Prime. So we on the phone about 12, 13 minutes, and I say, well, Coach, are you going to be there? And he's like, Dukes, what? I had to take the risk. Like, what? Am I going to be here? I, in that moment, had my processor going off. And if there's anything that people say about me is that when it comes to people, I have a great processor. I didn't have to get any more quotes. I laughed it off a little bit. I said, all right, Coach. And we keep it pushing, right? What I heard today from Coach Prime was a man that was focused on the task at hand, that wants to finish what he started. What I heard in my conversation with Coach Prime today was a man that is excited about the next level he will go to at Colorado. A man that is very excited about the players that he will be able to put in position to be great this year. And talking about greatness, in my conversation with Coach Prime today, there were two things that he was more excited about than anything. One was the fact that the Colorado football team achieved a 3.0 GPA for the first time in school history as a whole. That means you go pull any football player and their average. Now, some are going to be low, some are going to be higher. But the average, you have a better chance than not of getting a 3.0 player. And the second thing he was excited about, teaching his class as a professor on campus, being an on-campus professor this spring. That's what Coach Prime was excited about. This ain't me talking to a source. This ain't me talking to nobody around him. This is me talking to Coach Prime. Everything that he said was excitement about what's to come. And when I wanted to talk to him about something outside of that, he literally was like, no, we ain't doing that. You know why? Because for someone who he's told multiple times, we've shared a lot, took me in as a mentee. I've been to Colorado multiple times. I worked with his son, Deion Sanders Jr., on Well Off Media. Coach Prime put that deal in place for me to go independent and not have to take any job, even a mid-job offers coming. I had the opportunity to be independent based on Coach Prime and his leadership and his brotherhood. So these conversations that we're having, and I'm flying off the radar right here because I've told you what I feel like, I was able to say, and I haven't asked him. And tomorrow he might call me, and there's been some times he just say, Dukes, all right now, Dukes. But I'm doing this right now. I wanted to share this so people would understand what his mindset is, because there's so much going around about the NFL, and you would think that his mentality was split or he was operating duality, but he's focused on the task at hand. talk to him 15 minutes, guarantee you he and whatever I put out on this, right or wrong, he's gonna co-sign that for me because it's the truth. Coach Prime stands on truth for sure. And that's the truth from this conversation. But what it told me was, man, I know Coach Prime as well. I know Coach Prime. There is something that's going on with those contract negotiations at Colorado where his enthusiasm isn't being matched. Let me do that again. Something that is there is something that is not marrying up. Because if it was, and I know the temperature right now, there would be more adamant responses about I am locked in, I am staying. But the security hasn't arrived yet in the form of a suitable contract. And that's baffling to me. So let's get into the numbers. And now this is my conversation, not with Coach Prime. This is me talking to you guys about what does Coach Prime deserve? What is Coach Prime really worth? All right, so we know what he did on the football field. 9-win season, 2 seasons removed from being a 1-win team. The ability to have 2 of the top 5 players in college football not have collective deals from the NIL collective. Okay. That's just on the field. That's plenty right there. Okay, cool. All right. Let's run down a list. So right now, we've been talking about, and some of these stats I've wielded before, but let's talk about right now. What is Coach Prime really worth, and what is his true socioeconomic impact in Boulder, Colorado? I said socioeconomic, not just about money. Okay, let's go. Let's start with team GPA 3.0. Never been done before. What he's doing is creating master's students or advanced degree candidates through his football program that can go anywhere, even if they're not playing. Because the average player on his team has a 3.0, a B average. And that average, he's breaking his own record, or Colorado as a team is breaking their own record for GPA semester after semester. And now you have hit a peak of 3.0, which speaks volumes. Okay, let's get into some of the economic impact. Merchandise up 525% since 2021. In 6 home games, $113 million in direct economic impact in Boulder. 6 home games. Revitalized the local economy through tourism and hospitality and retail with that $113 million. $113 million. Let's $113 million. Okay. And that's 2023. Okay, cool. When we dive into that 113, the average visitor accommodations for home games in 2023 was $183, which was up from $102 in 2017. And when you break down compound interest, where in America, compound with interest on a year-over-year basis was only fluctuating between 2 and 5%, with a spike of 8% in 2022. Now, if you compound that interest without the prime effect, not the interest, excuse me, the inflation, if you compound inflation without the prime effect, right, it would have only been about 24%. Coach Prime tripled that. The prime stimulus package is triple what inflation is over the years. $340 million in media exposure, and those are just the 2023 number. $1/3 of $1 billion. Let's go back to socio impact. 68,000 applications into the University of Colorado Boulder, which is a 20% spike. Not just black kids, not just African Americans, all total applications. Let's go to socio again. 267,000 followers over social media when Coach Prime found Colorado. He ain't do nothing but add 2 million followers, and we know about social currency, the social currency that is social media, which has lasting impact for not just him, but the players around, the media people, the local businesses. All of these people are impacted by that socioeconomic influence. So, with all that being said, let's just get back to football. Let's talk about salaries. My man Joe Klatt, shout out to Joe, said that there are articles out said that Joe Klatt said that he thought that Coach Prime had a good contract, and I've said this, a million times. $6 million is Coach Prime got a good contract now. $6 million is a good contract now, but depending on who it's for and what they've done. That whole list I just gave you, let me tell you what that looks like. Let me tell you what a feasible contract, not even feasible. Let's talk about a contract where Coach Prime is valued based on all of those numbers I just gave you. We can't put him in a championship tier because he hasn't won a national championship. I got to call a spade a spade. Kirby Smart is at $13.3 million. Dabo Swinney is at $11.1 million. All right, so now those are the only two active coaches currently with national championships. Now let's get into the nitty gritty. Drinkwitz, Eli at Missouri, $9 million. Lane Kiffin, $9 million. Stoops, Mark Stoops, Kentucky, $9 million. Kalen DeBoer, $10 million. Mike Norvell, $10 million. Ryan Day, $10 million. Lincoln Riley, $10 million. Sark, 10.6. I don't see a national championship in any of those numbers. And I find that you would be hard pressed, and no hating on anybody else, but you would be hard pressed to find the socioeconomic numbers that Coach Prime has put up in addition to winning on the field. So when you look at some of these contracts and you see when these contracts, right? When you see when these contracts were given out and agreed upon, there has to be some sort of inflation based on the year. So when we know that 9 to 10 million is the number for an up-and-coming coach, look at Kurt Cignetti. They say he's around 8-9 million. He's right in that. He's right, based on his bonuses. He's in that 8 to 9 million range. Is Coach Prime? Now that's a bet. Coach Cignetti, awesome job. You'd be hard pressed to find that amount of numbers that Coach Prime has in socioeconomic impact in Indiana. So with that being said, I think you got to put Coach Prime in that 10 to 11. Now, he might be asking for 12, 13, 14. I don't know. But if I'm smart and I know the man like I know the man, he ain't asking for all that. I in my heart, I don't feel like – and he did not tell me what he asked for. Swear on everything. But if I were to take an educated guess, you got to start at $10 million for a Coach Prime. And I'm pretty sure had they started in that $10 million, $11 million range, you would see the powers that be making more fuss about it than anybody because they leaked that type of information. Oh, he turned this down. Everybody knew what Lane Kiffin got offered in Auburn circles. You know these type of things. Like they come out, especially when things don't go your way, right? With all that being said, I also talked to some people who are in the know with Colorado brass and some of the decision makers. They are motivated to get a deal done. So based on these two conversations, I don't think you have a ton to worry about. But this is the gotcha. And I said this the other day. The longer you wait, the longer you allow people to make overtures in Coach Prime's direction, and they see that he doesn't have security, and they're saying we can provide that for you financially, and now they will start to get more and more creative about providing the capital to make Coach Prime's decision to leave Boulder a little bit easier under the guys that he can coach his sons. Guarantee it. Mark it. So this is something that needs to happen sooner than later, and I can't say it enough. I think it will happen, but I don't know everything. And if there's anything that Coach Prime ever told me about decision making, is that he ain't gonna miss God. Sometimes we have to look at stuff and say, God is telling us where to go based on what's happening around me. This situation isn't going the way that makes sense. God is talking to me. Colorado, to the powers that be, I've said it ad nauseum. Let's get this deal done so Colorado can continue to grow, so Boulder can continue to grow. If I won't say anything, and if I will say, I know for a fact, if this thing gets right, Coach Prime wants to be able to relax. He's comfortable. He said it a million times. When I went out there and kicked it with him, he was comfortable. He wants to be comfortable. As young as he is, and as vibrant as he is in his personality, he ain't trying to do this for the next 15 years. He may have one, maybe two more left in him. He's got to get these things in the right perspective as far as what makes his life, what fits in his life. Colorado fits in his life. So now you guys got to make it fit on paper. And Coach Prime, if you hear this, Coach, man, you've done an amazing job, and God's gonna point you in the right direction. And I think Colorado fans are praying that direction remains in Boulder. All right, that's my time, y'all. I'll check y'all next time.